Hello and welcome to this week's vlog. Been all over the news that Jack Frost is back with his nipping fingers once again. Winter is apparently very much on the way. And not only that, but we've actually been forecast record snowfall this year, which could be somewhat exciting. And on top of that, flooding, just to make it more interesting. And obviously heavy rain, strong storm winds, so it's going to be quite a bumpy ride apparently. Now, apparently the last time we had a winter as severe as the one we're supposed to be getting was back in 1947 in post-war Britain, when the snowfall was so intense that it virtually ground the country to a halt. Now, you know, I do know that of all the weather conditions that we get, snow in this country just seems to do amazing things to the roads and the railways, to be honest. It tends to just shut everything down. And, you know, to be fair, right, I know that the councils and people that go out with the gritters and they do the best they can, but it is one of those things you just either prepared for or you're not, really, because it just takes you completely by surprise. I remember once we were in the cinema watching a film. It was perfectly fine when we went in. It was a bit cold, but, you know, nothing too unpleasant. Came out, and it was very pretty because everything was carpeted by at least 3 or 4, maybe 5 inches of pristine white snow. But I tell you what, driving out of the car park was a right old sod. I'd be just reversing out. Tyres wouldn't grip. You know what it's like if you've driven in ice and snow, which is why when it comes to driving through seriously deep ice and snow, I tend to think maybe better to take the train. However, having said that, there is a tendency to overreact a bit to winter weather, you know, because it gets such a big billing in the news that you think, oh, it's going to be impossible, I'm not going to get anywhere. But actually, on some occasions, you just get sort of feathery dusting, and you know, and it's like, oh, is that all? Having said, is that all? That's almost like tempting fate, so I don't want to do that too much. However, it would be nice to be able to build a big snowman with carrot nose and little raisin mouth and stones for his eyes, and maybe put an old scarf on him, if only because the cats will find it extremely intriguing. That nice Mr. TESCO has invited us to a rather exciting Christmas evening event. Oh yes. We are going to, by invite of Mr. TESCO himself, to attend a champagne and or soft drinks evening, plus some rather tasty festive nibbles, and a glimpse at the exciting things that TESCO are flogging us this festive season. Sorry, flogging? Do I sound a little cynical there? Not intentional, I promise you, because it's rather exciting, really. We get our personal invite, and a store greeter will say hello to us as we go in, and then guide us towards the rather dashingly named events desk, wherever that might be. I've not seen one many times I've been in Tesco. Then I'm thinking, where are they going to hold such an event? Because I can't imagine for 1 minute that Tesco are going to shut a section of the store for us. No, I mean, think of the retail opportunities they'd lose. Or win, I suppose, if you think about it the other way. But anyway, you know, all those poor people who aren't invited won't be able to shop in the aisle that they've shut. So I think they must have some kind of exciting room upstairs that we don't know about. A function room. Maybe this is a new branch for Tesco's event. So maybe soon Tesco are going to start offering a corporate event service. So if you have a sales conference or something, basically you just go to your local Tesco's, nip upstairs, and they'll, you know, regale you with their latest food things, or food if you prefer to speak English, and and drinks and sort of nice things, and coffee from the cafe probably. So there you go, another little money spinner for Tesco's. But no, I think it'll be fun. It will be fun. It's got to be done, hasn't it? I mean, you don't very often get free champagne from whatever from Tesco's, so worth a try, I think. currently in our oven is that old school classic dessert, semolina pudding. Takes me right back to my school dinner days, when they used to plop it into your bowl from a ladle. Only this is an oven-baked variety, hence it being in the oven. But it kind of made me feel a bit nostalgic, actually, I have to say. Now, don't get me wrong, I've made semolina pudding many times, but I have this enamel dish that I got with some butter, as you do, and it kind of takes me back in time somehow, just putting it in there and putting it in the oven. And interesting, the recipe that I'm actually using had links on its webpage to a wartime cookery site. And when I started looking through that, it really got quite interesting. Because the thing, of course, about World War II here on the home front in Britain, specifically, which is what I was reading about, is the rationing that was in effect meant that people had to be tremendously creative with the things that they cooked. Making like a small amount of sugar or butter or whatever you last for a long time. And they got really good at it. And to be fair, a lot of the things that people ate in those days, if this website is anything to go by that I saw, were really, really proper healthy. Lots and lots of veg and not very much fat. However, some of the recipes do take a bit of imagination. Possibly the one that stands out the most, there's actually a couple, but the one that stands out the most is the mock goose recipe. Now, I don't know, but I would imagine that having fresh goose freely available at your local butcher was probably not that easy during the 1940s, or that period anyway. So this dish attempts to replicate it in quite a far-fetched sort of way, if one is honest. And it was lentils with water, or some kind of chicken stock, I think it was, and on top of that, breadcrumbs and sage and water to simulate stuffing, and then on top of that, more lentils. So basically the whole thing was really just a lentil, breadcrumb and lentil sandwich intended to imitate a goose. The prune and beef stew, which features pouring prune water mixed with Marmite on top of potatoes and browning the whole lot in the oven. Now, initially it sounds a bit sort of, oh my gosh, what a combination, but I have had prune juice before. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't need the prune juice, if you know what I mean. I just thought I'd try it. I'm not going to have it anymore because it wasn't that nice. It had a very earthy flavour, but earthy sweet. So I can imagine how that and beef would work quite well together. But I'm just not a fan of prunes. As I mentioned in a previous vlog, I don't like dates either. The humble date and the prune have a similar sort of taste. The taste that keeps you regular, you might say. So yes, very shortly I'm hoping the pudding will come out nice and golden brown from the oven with a little bit of nutmeg on the top. And yeah, so we lip smacking good, I hope. You know when people try and be just a little bit too clever with the old festive fonts to Christmassy up things? Well, it would appear that our good old DIY retailer B&Q has been busy with the graphic design again, and unfortunately they come up with something that maybe isn't quite as effective as they thought it would be. Now, I was in a silly mood yesterday evening, which isn't unusual, and I was playing trains on my Mac, and I realised that as well as putting trains onto the many different layouts that you can create using the program, you can also put things like horses and carts and ships and things. So I thought, well, wouldn't it be fun to see how bizarre it would look to have a random tram from the very long list of trains you can pick, and a couple of horses pulling it, even though the tram doesn't need horses pulling it because it's got electric power. And the end result just looks daft. Okay, so it's a bit silly and a bit of a waste of horsepower, to be honest with you. However, What looks even more ridiculous is what happens when you put a paddle steamer on some railway tracks. Now, of course, being trained and using the logic that it does, the paddle steamer then follows the line of the track, the signals and so on. So in theory, you could derail a paddle steamer. However, I did put one on and it took an age to get up to speed, what you could call speed. It certainly wouldn't get you to London very quickly from here. We had at home a whole load of games for the Xbox 360 and basically we're getting a PlayStation 4 when they come out. So we thought, trade them in at the local game store, which is exactly what we've done. And there were loads of games, Guitar Hero Player, the guitar, not console, controller, is the word I'm looking for, and a couple of other things as well, including of course the Xbox itself. And it came to a rather impressive total actually of £130 something. So that's good. Now right now at this very moment they're also testing an old Samsung Android phone that we have, which could be worth hopefully just under 200, fingers crossed. It's in good condition, it's got its charger and everything. They're testing it, so I shall go back shortly and get more money on the gift card. So I'm hopeful that actually by trading in all that stuff, we've pretty much paid for the PS4 before we've even got it. Well, not quite 200, but still a very respectable £127, which is not bad. So that's all gone onto the card, which I have here, and it will go towards the PS4, which hopefully, because it's rather a popular item, as you can imagine, we will have one reserved for us. We're on a queue. And we are the top of the queue waiting for one to become free, so should be, hopefully, around January we'll have a shiny new PS4. Thank you very much for watching. That's it from us for another week, but we'll see you again next time. So whatever you do, enjoy the forthcoming winter weather, and we'll see you then. Bye for now.